Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's virtual program. My name is Joshua Pulampu, and I'm the coordinator for American Corner Agbogba at Mobile Ghana. American Corner provides access to current and reliable information about the United States through our book collections, internet access, events, and activities for everyone. Normally, we're meeting face to face, but due to the global pandemic, we are bringing some of our programs virtually. Today, we'll be talking about data visualization using Google Data Studio. And data visualization is a graphical representation of quantitative information and data by using visual elements like graph, charts, and maps. This helps us to convert large and then small data sets into visuals, which is easy to understand by the human mind. Data visualization is also used to discover unknown facts and trends. And you can see these visualizations in form of lines, charts, and then display that changes over time. Today we have Stephen Donkor from the Ghana Youth Internet Governance Forum. He's a coordinator over there, and then he'll be taking us through one of the simple tools, that's the Google Data Studio, and how to use that for simple visualizations. So during this session, we'll be announcing some amazing resources, and then you can have access to them by just clicking on the links that will be in the comment area on Facebook. If you have any questions or you have any comments, you can also leave them there, and then we'll read them as the session progresses. So without wasting much time, let's welcome Stephen to begin. Stephen, you're welcome.
Thank you, Joshua, for giving me a short introduction today. Like you've said, data visualization actually is one of the tools we can actually use to be able to tell trends in data. So for the introduction you've been given to what data visualization is, you've basically just taken two of my slides of my presentation. So I want to say thank you for that anyway. So not to waste so much time, I'll share my screen. I'm sure you can see my screen now. Then I'll go straight into my presentation for the day. So you didn't say wrong, actually. Today's presentation will be heavily dwelling on how to use Google Data Studio to be able to visualize that data as it is anybody may need to be able to do. Most of the times that I've heard from my colleagues who say, why do I need to learn data analysis or data visualizations? But the beauty of the thing is, once you use any electronic device, once you leave, even you selling in the market, we actually create tons and tons of data that if we try to use our naked eye or our basic analysis to be able to want to tell the trends or the insight in that data, we might miss a key opportunity of seeing that vital point in the data. So data visualization tools are just tools that enable us, as it is you said, to be able to find that trend or be able to see that information that if we were doing it using our basic eye or mind, we might have missed a lot of information. So in today's section, this will be my overview for the next 1 hour. I would attempt to go through what are the basics of Data Studio. I would try to touch on as much as possible the tools that are in the studio for anyone after today to be able to have that dashboard as it is he or she might need. I will seek to answer the question why Data Studio and not other data visualization tools. We would build reports as it is we go into the presentation. I'll show how to be able to embed external resources, how to bring either videos or feedback forms into your dashboard so that your dashboard does not look boring. I'll touch a little bit of how to brand your dashboard. If you are doing the same for your company or for yourself, maybe you have a logo, you have a company name, how are you able to do same for the visualization as it is you are having. I'll touch on some few chart types in the data visualization, even though there are a couple of them, we might not be able to exhaust the entire list today. I will touch also on some little advanced features and also show us how to collaborate on Data Studio. You'll be able to share what it is as it is you are doing right from your home with anybody sitting anywhere across the world, to be able to also contribute directly to the project as it is you are doing. You want to take notes of this, as it is I titled my digital space. You can actually reach me on Twitter at Stephen, or send me a mail if you need further assistance on the topic as it is we are having today. I may not be able to come back to this based on some of the things as it is we'll be doing. So if you need any help, any further assistance, something we were not able to answer in today's presentation, you can actually reach out to me, or the team will be able to answer that. So I borrowed one of my slides from one of my previous presentations. Data is the new gold. Data is the new oil. Why do we keep saying that? Why are people keep saying data is actually the new gold or the new oil? One critical example as it is I gave one person when I was trying to explain this to the fellow was that using a mobile phone as an example. One of the things as it is I said that from the day you actually buy a mobile phone and you unbox the mobile phone, and then immediately you plug that mobile phone into a power source and it starts charging, you've actually started creating data. You started creating data when you first actually turn or charge the mobile device, how long you actually charge the mobile device, if the power actually that was connected to the mobile device was stable or not. So when you actually first turned it on to your first interaction on the phone, those are all tons of data as it is you are creating. Moving away from the mobile device, you can actually also see someone basically selling in the market. From you taking that stock to the market as it is you are selling, how many people are actually buying your products, to which of the products are actually moving faster than the others. Those are all data as it is you are collecting. But if you do not spend time over a period to actually analyze some of those data, you might actually be missing in which part of the month was my product really selling the most, which product was really selling. These are some of the reasons why data visualization is important, so that without wanting to use your mind, you're able to use certain tools to be able to tell those trends irrespective of the institution as it is you are in. Joshua, I'll say thank you again because you've actually answered this question already for me about data visualization is, which you said is a graphical representation of information or data for us to be able to see trends or understand the trends, patterns in that actually data. So thank you. So in all as it is you've said, this is just a picture to actually represent the definition as it is you actually really give. So it is easier to probably explain the screen to anyone rather than giving the person huge data files for the person to be able to make meanings out of them. So in visualizing these data, you're able to tell where are the stocks going, are they high or not? What is the total number of people, if in COVID, are actually contracting the COVID? Which country is suffering the pandemic the most? You're able to tell that information from a click on a click of a button, to be able to know that instant information. You could have taken hours and hours to be able to look into that data to be able to find. The next question as it is I'd want to take or answer myself would be, then why Data Studio? This is just a basic simulation of what Data Studio can actually really do. One of the things as it is I like about Data Studio is that in some few basic clicks, you're able to have a very interactive dashboard for people to be able to interact with. Not only that, Data Studio also makes it possible for anyone to be able to get maybe an intuitive or a dynamic dashboard, which is not static. So that means as far as the data or the trends are actually really changing, you might not need to really do anything that much to see the results actually changing on your dashboard. So with this dashboard, you see that we have a geo map which tells maybe where, based on the data cities you've inputted, is affected the most, to bar charts. To we wanting to be able to see results or the users of mobile phone based on the analysis as this has been given here. So based on those two comparisons, what is data visualization, and then why data studio, like I said, it's one of the easy data tools as it is I've actually really come across, and it's really easy to use. So for me to prove the point that it is easy to actually deploy or use data studio or Google Data Studio, I'll do a quick demonstration on what it is we might be looking forward to in today. So to be able to do that, I'll head straight to datastudio.google.com. All you basically need is your Gmail account, or to be able to have an account with Gmail to be able to have access to Data Studio. You look like you have a question to ask.
So can you to Google Data Studio? Is it a free? Before we continue, is it free or paid?
What I'm going to do today is free, so that would mean that you are free to be able to use. But most of the times, Google normally have two models or business models where they actually have paid versions of certain tools as it is they actually deploy, and then the free versions to be able to enable anybody to be able to have access to some of the things. The only beauty is that in using maybe a paid version, you might have certain privilege that you might not see in the free version. But today we're going to use a free version of the Data Studio, which will enable us to do anything as it is we want to be able to do.
Okay, thank you.
So, like I said, the thing as it is we will need to do basically today will just be to head to datastudio.google.com. The first thing as it is, like I said, you need to do will be to have a Gmail account. You should be logged into Gmail at the point as it is you are logging into Data Studio. If you're not logged in or do not have an account, you'll be required to create an account to be able to do same everything as it is I would be doing today. So as it is, you see from the rightmost corner of my screen, I'm already logged in into my Gmail account for Data Studio, so I don't need to re-log in for same. So like I said, I'm just going to create a quick dashboard for us to see what it is we'll be doing today. One of the things as it is I would say for this presentation is that we'll be doing a couple of hands-on. I would advise that maybe you look on more than wanting to practice as it is I am going on, because the video that is being streamed today will be living. It's not going to be deleted. It will be on the Facebook page. You can always go back to it to reference to anything as it is I may have said. It is better for you to understand some of the things I'll be talking about now, rather than try to follow and then probably miss some of the important points as it is I might make. So I just go ahead, I'll talk less whilst I'm creating this, because this is not the real training. This is just a quick demo to be able to show as what we'll be expecting today. So basically to create a report or a dashboard, all I need to do will be to head to create a report and be able to upload the data which I've already prepared or already have. For this demo section, I'll be using the CSV file format. So I'll be uploading the file formats that I already have, or an Excel format if it is you have seen. But what it is I'll be using for this demonstration purposes will be a CSV file. So when the data is added to the studio, you notice that it processes it. And then when it is ready, the status actually turns green. When that is done, all I need to do is just add that to the studio. Once your data is added to the studio, it brings me back to the working space of where the action for today is going to happen. So what I'm going to do today will be to create a basic bar chart and also a geo map of the data I've actually updated, like I've uploaded into the data studio. I'll not be needing this now, so all I'm just basically going to do will be to delete it. So like I said, I want to create a bar chart, a simple bar chart for this. So I'll head for a bar chart. So my bar chart is inputted. I go to my metrics data, look for total cases. So you notice that in the click of a button, I've actually been able to create a bar chart of the Excel file or the CSV file that I've actually uploaded into Data Studio. And all that it is I have done is to match the countries versus the total coronavirus cases that has been recorded in the country. So after creating my bar chart, the next thing I want to create for this dashboard will be to have a geo map. And geo map basically is just a graphical representation of where actually which data or which country the data is actually really coming. Sorry, I chose the wrong thing. So a geo map. So if you notice, this is one of the powerful tools of Data Studio. In 2 clicks, I've been able to generate a geo map of the data actually I've uploaded. If you notice that some of the countries have actually been shaded. They've been shaded based on the intensity or the counts of the cases that has been recorded per each country. So the deeper the color, that would mean that the higher the cases, the total cases per each country. So I can just do a quick view of what it is we have currently, then I'll show something else. So this is my quick dashboard. What it is you notice is that everything as it is I said, Data Studio makes your data visualization interactive, intuitive, and very clean as well. You notice that as it is I hover the mouse over the bars, I'm able to see the total case counts per each country. Similarly, when I go to the geo map that has actually also been added, you notice that that also is interactive. So whilst I move my mouse around, I can locate Ghana. And then you notice that I have a total count as 195. You can find any country, move around them, and then you see per the data as it is I have added. So now that I have these two here, when we would want to, we will need to be able to style the dashboard a little, one by giving it a title. So I'll just say COVID-19 status. That's April 2020. So I've added my title. The next thing I would want to add would be a scorecard. So in this scorecard, it's actually picking the total number of cases, the entire cases, as at April 2020. I'm going to add other scorecards. Total recovery.
Yeah, so Stephen, whilst you are getting the scorecard for us, a quick question. So are the scorecards generated based on the data you import in the studio, or you can, create your custom scorecards?
Okay, so everything you see on the working space or the dashboard, if I preview, is pulling data from the Excel file, the CSV file that I've actually uploaded from onto the studio. So I'm not generating any data by myself, but this is based on data in my Excel file that I've actually uploaded into the studio.
Okay. Please continue.
So I'm going to do a little verifications.
So whilst we get our styling up, I just like to introduce us to a wonderful resource we have, which is the ELibrary USA. The ELibrary USA is the state-of-the-art digital library with 9 premier databases, which has digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, visitations, and so many more. So usually these resources are only available to you in person at our American spaces, and then also at the American corner. But you will be open up access to them. So if you're interested in having access to these resources, there's going to be a link. Just keep an eye in the chat box. There's going to be a link over there, and then kindly click on it, and then you sign up to that. That form, and then you'll be given access to it, so you can browse from your homes and then have access to this wonderful resources. If you have questions and comments, and I've seen a couple in the comment section, kindly just type them out, and then we'll address them during the Q&A session. Q&A sessions. Okay, so currently you are getting icons for the various fields so that you can properly create a visual information that can be easily consumed by whoever is going to see this dashboard.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then I think it's a question that will eventually come up, and I might as well ask it now once you are preparing a dashboard. So how skilled do you have to be in order to be able to use this? We know data analysis, visualization is a whole field where we have like people actually pursuing so many years of courses, and then hours in preparing themselves to be able to understand this data and create meaningful visualizations. Using a Google Data Studio, what level of what should be your level before you're able to like use this platform? What do you need to understand before you're able to process data using this platform?
So you actually require node skills to be able to use Data Studio. After this, all you actually need to have is your Gmail account to be able to have what it is, or be able to do the things as it is I'm equally really doing. So as it is, you've seen in some few minutes, I've been able to have or create an interactive map. I can actually, or anybody can actually interact with. You can share this with anybody anywhere to be able to interact with your map. I've inserted core cards and icons. You just click off a button. You do not need any special skills, especially for Data Studio to be able to use the tool. All that it is you need to know is that data, if not really looked at or visualized, you can actually miss that information. So anybody that's interested in finding that insight in data is welcome to be able to try Data Studio actually to bring it out. Okay. So, like I said, basically, I'm done. Not to go so much in depth. I've been able to add icons to the scorecards as it is. I've created a quick bar chart and be able to have a geo chart as well in the same dashboard. So now that as it is we've done this, you notice that I didn't even explain a lot of the things as it is going forward. So from here, I'd go back into my slides and then explain some of the things or some of the tools as it is I've used appropriately, so that whatever it is I may have done currently, anybody might be able to equally do same without any struggle. So now that we are back from the demo section, I don't know if anybody has any question about the demo section. Maybe we can hold on to that to the end of it. Okay. So that so we've already gone to Data Studio to be able to do that. So if going back to Data Studio, you would here, anytime you actually log into Data Studio, you are going to at all times be prompted with these three major icons. Your favorite button will be to create a new report. That will just basically be you pulling out a blank report, a blank sheet to be able to actually do what it is you necessarily need to be able to do. So there's this thing called the data source, which sometimes can actually confuse people when you are trying to explain what Data Studio is. So I'll go back to my slides so that I'll give a full explanation on what's a data source is. So I've taken us one step back for us to be able to create all those beautiful reports as it is I'm creating today. There are three major things as it is we'll be looking at, which is the data set, the connectors, and data sources. Basically, data or Google Data Studio actually can accept data from a lot of variety of places, be it Excel, Twitter, AdWord analysis, whether it's SQL, Postgres database, as many as connectors as it is, as many as data bases as it is that generates data, you are able to push that data into Data Studio. So the difference between data set, which is just the underlying data for any data as it is you'll be using, which probably in other terms we'll say raw data, which is unprocessed data. That's one thing as it is we'll call data. So from wherever it is, you might have pulled that data from. So far as you have it, it's in raw state, in whichever file formats you have it, we'll call it a data set. I'll jump over data connectors and go to data source. In Google Data Studio, it actually deals or represents data source basically as after when we have processed that basic data as it is we've had from any other source as it is we've taken it from and brought it into Data Studio, we are able to do some basic manipulations or process that data, either be able to delete some basic sections of that file, and which might not be required in the visualization as it is we basically really need. So after you filter everything as it is you need and left what you'll be needing for the report at the end of the day will be what Data Studio will be referring to as data source. There are a couple of data connectors, and data connectors are basically those tools that enable you to be able to upload that data into Data Studio. So you can see currently there are about 19 of them. You're able to upload data from either a Postgres or MySQL, from Google Excel sheet for BigQuery, variety of places. There are also other connectors, over 140 of them, that are third-party applications that Data Studio also allow one to be able to inject data into Data Studio. There's one thing sometimes people actually do basic mistakes is when they are attempting to visualize or manipulate data. I'm just going to highlight on this basic one that can actually give you a headache when you're actually dealing with Data Studio. One, we have rows and columns, which you need to be mindful of how it is you are dealing with both. How come I brought these two examples close by each other? So you notice that in table 1, where we have columns of each data representing 3 countries. So you notice that there are rows, which probably you may call records, and then the columns, which actually be the fields for what it is data we are inputting. So if you pick Ghana, you notice that all the data concerning Ghana are actually basically all on one row, rather than splitting them as it is you might have seen in a different format. When you have them in this format, the second format or any other formats, and not arranged as it is in this format, you might have Data Studio finding it difficult to read meanings into the data you've actually basically inputted into the studio. For easy manipulation, you notice that when I uploaded the first year's file, I did very little. I didn't even touch the data. I just went ahead to pull out the bar chart because the data have actually been organized in the right format. So Data Studio actually really understands exactly what to basically to be able to do. There are 2 terms that can get a little confusing going forward in Data Studio, which are the dimensions and the metrics. The one sometimes can get tricky with me myself. So if it's tricky with you, you don't want to be confused. So matrices or metrics in dealing with Data Studios are just basically anything that are measurable by the numerical scale. So if we look at this column where I've stated number, the number is just me counting the rows as it is I am having. But if you see 3 is not probably 3 times the portion of 2, or neither is 2, maybe 2 times the value of 1. It's just numbers that are actually just labeling the columns or the rows as it is we may really have them. So in this case, even though this might be numbers, we do not consider them, Data Studio do not consider them as metrics. Dimension, as it is, you may see maybe anything like the opposite of metrics that cannot be measured on the numerical scale. So from female, sex, color, salesperson. So if I come back to metrics, you realize that we have profit sales. This we can measure, but this we cannot. A salesperson. So salesperson basically we just tell us either Mawutor is a salesperson, but you cannot measure me on the scale using Data Studio. So one of the things as it is we would want to pay close attention to. So in explaining all the things as it is I've done and explain some of the tools step by step and creating certain different types or embedding other informations on the dashboard today, I'll be using data heavily from the World's Meter Information, which is just a website that has updated coronavirus statistics all across the world. So I'll jump back to my browser where we would visit. Hello, Hope.
Yeah, so once we go to World, is it World Metrics?
Come again?
World Meter. Okay, can you mention the URL again?
This, I couldn't get you.
Okay, sure. So worldmeters.info, and then you get your data from that place. So I think you can switch back to your browser.
Yes,
Then,
please.
now with the Data Studio, I know most of the Google Suite products are online, but is there any way you can work with this offline? Does it have any offline feature? So in case you don't have access to or something.
So currently, no. Data Studio heavily relies online for you to be able to use most of some of the Google tools as it is we have. Because of the collaboration or collaborative features as it is it has. It tries to keep most of the things online. Some of the reasons as well is that you do not lose anything as it is you are working on. It automatically saves anything as it is you are working on from time to time. So I'm going to actually pull data from this website. I think it's /coronavirus. So you notice that we have coronavirus case counts. They've done some few analysis on that website. So this is going to be the data I'm going to heavily work on today. You will notice that there's a lot of data in here, and then trust me, if I asked you or any other person to be able to make a meaning on an insight from all this data around the world, it might take you quite some time to be able to do that. But with Data Studio, with clicks of button, we are able to quickly, clean the data, be able to visualize what it is you want to be able to visualize in no time. So I'll jump quickly to that. Okay, so Data Studio. So with this time is the same thing. I'm going to create reports for me to be able to pull that data as it is I want to be able to create. So now it asks me of the data source. Where do I want to have that data connected from? This time around, I'm not going to use a CSV file. I want to show another tool as it is we are able to use. So in this demo, I'm going to use Google Sheets. Let's go to So Google Sheets is just an online version of Excel. In this as well, you're able to have collaboration or data hosted online without you losing it. So on my last slide, you notice I left a comment that will be going to the website to be able to pull data. I'm not going to copy the data, but by the power of just a line of script, we are able to import that entire data from the website as it is we currently have here into Excel and then into Data Studio. So this is going to be the most powerful line of data analysis we're going to use. So the HTML. Sorry, if I think your screen is small, if I can zoom it for you to see the code I'm running. Is it big enough?
Yes, it's very, very, very visible.
Yes. So the command I'm just going to use, or the that I'm going to use, just import HTML. I'll paste the websites I am copying that data from. It's a table. So in most HTML formats, since it's a website, those kind of table or data representations are not actually a list, but rather a table. and then it's going to be the first table. So this is when we see the magic in what is, okay. So you will notice that by me just inputting that line of code, I have actually imported the entire data from the website. So if I see US, currently we have 34 million. If I come to my Google Sheet and I come to the US, you realize I have 34 million. I don't know if you can see that. So I've just basically copied the information right from the website into an Excel sheet online by just one line of code. The next thing I'm going to do is there are certain columns, if you notice, that will not be relevant for the topic as it is we are doing. So I'm going to hide those fields so that we do not use them or import them to Google. One will be the formula, what I use in the formula. So I'll hide that column, even though it is still there. So the beauty about this formula is that I am actually copying or having live data from the website. So as and when the data from the website changes, my values will also change accordingly. I don't need to go back to input the same formula again. So I'll hide this next section. The word data to need to be hidden. And then if you go beneath, there are some total count cases I do not need. Sorry. Okay, so my data is ready. I'll label it COVID-19. And it's already saved. So I'll come back to Data Studio. I no longer need the website, Data Studio. And the first option, I use the CSV. Now I'm going to go using Google Sheet. So in Google Sheet, you notice that because I use the same account, it has already picked my name and also pulled out all the sheets as it is I currently own. So these are all the items I've been working on with Google Sheets. So you can actually search your data.
So I think if just to do a quick recap, in order for us to do the Magic Data Studio, we have to actually prepare the grounds for us to succeed by getting our data in the right format that it can be properly interpreted. And then if we want to have like a live dashboard where data comes in and it updates by itself, we can use a connector, which we explain in the URL, for us to fetch the data from our source, import it to Google Sheets. Then we can then transfer the data to Data Studio, where we can click around and then create the awesome visualizations.
Yes. COVID-19. I hope I use the right account.
Yes. So whilst Stephen gets his data into Data Studio, yes, thank you all for joining us today. We're really glad you are here. We have a couple of questions which we'll take during the Q&A session. I can see Kweku, Ofiga, yes, Marvin Daniels, William Edumens, and thank you all for joining us today. Yes, so yes, one question I can answer now is for the slides. So as many of you that want the slides to this particular presentation, yes, so after this session, we'll announce, we can just reply to this Facebook account with the title of the program and then the slides, and then we can make that available for you. Yes, also Stephen will also share his, how do you call it? We'll share his his details once again. If you really want to connect with him personally, so you can do that. I'll also push him to share some information for those of us who want to do self-study or want to read more about Google Data Studio, and then how to do like basic visualization for our project works, and then perhaps for our small businesses and things like that. Yes, so I think we have our dashboard ready now.
Yes. So if you notice, I've put the current data already here. I can do like I did in the first instance, create my geomap of that same data. Don't mean that I would need to. How many minutes do I have, Joshua?
Yes, we have about 40 minutes more to wrap up.
About
14 minutes more to wrap up.
Okay, sure. So one of the instances where I took us to matrices and dimensions is for us to be able to clean the data as it is, I said, from the first instance. If we have the data set that you've actually updated, you need to be able to process that data to be able to see what fields as it is you may want to be able to see. So for this instance, you notice that all the data as it is I have inputted is actually here. There is a column called record counts, which has also been added, which we do not need for this instance. What record counts basically does is that if it was in the marketing department and you have a salesperson making multiple sales, that would mean that you may want to be able to run an analysis on how many sales a salesperson one have been able to do. But for this instances, all the records counts will be one. So we will not be needing this option. So we would hide this option. There is my formula option as well, which we do not need, which is the hash. So basically, all you need to do is just process the data and also look closely, even though sometimes Data Studio might mistakenly classify an item as being dynamic or a matrix. All you need to do will be to reconsider all the data appropriately as it has been updated or uploaded. And then if you know the column is actually a matrix data, just ensure that it is a number and not text. Those are all the corrections as it is you need to be able to do. This is the beautiful aspect about Data Studio as well, where my mouse is the data refreshness. You can ask the studio to be able to refresh the data in an hour and 4 hours or 12 hours maximum. So for these cases where I know very well the corona cases or updates are probably done after 24 hours, I think the 12 hours interval would be enough. So what the dashboard will do is that even after we have embedded, or if you embed the applications into a website, you are able to have, like I said, live data as and when the data is being updated. So after 12 hours, what Data Studio will do is that it would go back into the Excel file, probably would have been updated already, and then refetch the new data as it is you have done. One of the things we should also know is that any changes as it is we'll do in Data Studio will remain in Data Studio and not affect the Excel file. Even if we were to add another field, let's say, I can do a sum of total cases. And so when you are writing a formula, when the formula is correct, you'll notice that a green correct button actually pops up. So all I need to do is save. So I would need to name the total. So I'll say world total cases. I'll leave the field ID as the same and be able to save. Okay, so then from here, I can close this. Okay, so I can quickly just add my chat back. Total. And then a quick, before we run up, a quick illustration of what it is we are able to add in Data Studio. You will notice that the dimension data expert had actually added from this column, choosing data and then matching it against the total number of cases. I can actually add more cases if I want to probably add death cases. I'll just click and drag. And then you notice that now I'm having two sides of the one in a turquoise green and then one in blue, being able to match accordingly with whatever data as it is we are having. In the same instance, you can also style, which will also work basically for anything as it is you want to be able to choose. You can switch in between different colors. You can choose how you want the bar charts to look like. You can actually have a count of how you want the bar charts to look like. If it was a table we wanted to create, we can actually create a table, which I didn't create in the first instance. And then we will notice that we would have a table as well with all the statistics actually popping up as it is we have. If you look beneath here, you realize that I am able to actually go into the next pages as it is I have instructed it to be able to appear. So for this instance, you notice that it has been stated 100 rows. You can limit it to 20, 10, 15, 5, so that you are actually populating enough data on the visualization dashboard as it is you want to be able to have. If you wanted to create a pie chart or a donut chart, all you need to do basically go to your donuts and be able to equally create same. And all this as it is, I am saying, you don't need to struggle yourself around. You only need to get yourself familiar with most of the tools as it is you may have on the studio. And then, like you see as it is, I've demonstrated from the first instance. Now, all these tools as it is you may have, the next thing as it is possibly you need to be able to do would just be how you would want to arrange that data of yours as it is you would want to be able to arrange. Hello, Joshua.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, we have very little time left.
Yes.
So I'd like us to pause here and then probably answer a couple of questions before we go off. Yes, so I'd like to quickly take the first one from William Edumensa. It says, maybe I made something, but do I need prior knowledge? Is there prior knowledge needed to do what you've taught today? Prior knowledge?
No, I think it's a similar question as it is you asked if you need to have any skills. No, you don't. You don't need any prior knowledge to be able to use the Data Studio.
Okay. And then Kweku Kofiga is also saying, I figured it's in the case of data analysis, you'd always need to clean your data properly before you upload.
Yes.
And then
so you.
Yeah, you want to comment on that particular statement?
Yes, so there are actually two ways of actually handling that. So probably before, if for the instance, so you notice that when I did the first demonstration, I actually uploaded a CSV file format. In that instance, you're able to manipulate your data right from your desktop. But for this instance, where I am pulling data from a website, will mean that I now have to manipulate that data in Data Studio. Why I went to resources and then manage the data source you have added. In this instance, I'm able to either filter it's just that we don't have so much time to be able to now show how to probably filter certain results out, how to even color by filtering. There are a lot of conditions or certain things that the platform can actually really provide.
Okay, and then Ruby Amanda, she's been an active participant in this program. She's asking, how different is Google Data Studio from Python, R Studio, and then Stata?
And so, what, like I said, from the previous question as to this, the gentleman actually asks if you need prior knowledge. If you look at R, you need to know a little bit of Python to be able to have the full impact or the full benefits of R. For this instance, all you need to know is that you have this data you want to be able to visualize. That's the beauty about the Data Studio for me, if you ask me personally, because you do not need any prerequisite knowledge to be able to manipulate the platform. All as it is you need to be able to do is just familiarize yourself with some of the tools or how it is you want to be able to add your things and then arrange your data as and when and how it is you want to be able to have it done.
Yeah, very much. We have about 3 more minutes to wrap up. What would be your closing comments and then final remarks before we sign off? So now who's interested in using Google Data Studio?
So my final comment will be, we shouldn't just use data. We should be able to analyze and visualize that data as it is, irrespective of the sector as it is. Everybody can actually visualize or analyze that data they're actually using or creating. That is one. Maybe to even add on that, even though we are stopping at a point, what it is you want to be able to do would be to attempt to explore some of the benefits or some of the tools Data Studio can actually provide to anyone. We are available. The center is open. You can contact us directly, and we'll be able to fix something if there is any challenge as it is you are facing, so that we can bring the true power of data visualization to each and everybody who is interested in learning.
Yeah. So, Mawutor, do you have a number of slides left?
No. So basically, the slides are done.
Yeah, done with the slides. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I think we didn't even exhaust all the things we intended to do. But for the slides, that was my last slide we had. So this was the script I used to import the data from the website as it is you saw me do.
Okay, so for those who are interested in getting the slides, yes, the slides can be made available to you after the program. You can just watch a playback on the Facebook page, and also you can just send a message to a Facebook page with the title of the session and then asking for the slides, and then we'll gladly make that available to you. If you also want to come into our center, American Corner Agbogba, we are located on the premises of Mobile Web Ghana, Agbogba North Legon. You can just do a quick Google search, American Corner Agbogba or Mobile Web Ghana, and then you can find us. And we are open Mondays to Fridays from 10 o'clock to about 5 p.m. You can just walk and have access to these wonderful resources. Also, please follow the Facebook page. We have a lot of interesting programs lined up for you. Just follow the page, like the page, and then once we go live, you get a notification. Yes, so thank you, Mawutor, for honoring our invitation to take us through this short session, and we are glad to have you here. Yes, so this concludes our program for today. As I mentioned, please follow us on Facebook at US Embassy Ghana for more amazing virtual programming. Please stay safe, observe all the safety protocols. That is washing of hands and running water with soap for 20 seconds. Let's practice social distancing and wear a mask in public. Till next time we come your way, it's bye from us.